Today, let's do a very interesting problem that was recently asked in a major company's code interview. HackerRank was sent on HackerRank, and let's do this problem. The problem is hash ports, and this problem is not even given in lead code. Actually, somebody on the lead code asked this question, so we'll go from there. There is no lead code number for it. The problem is as follows. It's named as hash ports, and packets are sent to different ports on a computer system based on the hash of their packet ID. The value of the hash is as given below. Uh, Hash equal to mod packet ID number of ports. So basically, they are saying that you got bunch of ports on a machine, and packets are sent based on the hash of their packet ID, where mod is the modulus operator and takes the mod of first operand by second operand. The ports are numbered from 0 to number of ports minus 1, and a packet is initially sent to the port that has the port number equal to the hash of its ID. So in the beginning, all that happens is the packet comes in, you take the hash using this thing that I told you, mod of number of ports, and that's where packet is sent. But each packet requires a time t to send a packet. So the thing is that each packet requires some time to send it. You can't send it right away. So uh, if a port is currently sending a packet, this packet is then sent to the next port number and so on. Given that X packets arrive 1 per second and given the IDs of the packets, find the port at which each packet is finally sent. First packet is sent at time t equal to 1. And function description, they're saying complete the send time packets in the editor below. The function must return an integer array. So we have to return an integer array denoting the ports at which the packets are sent. So integer array will be telling you the ports at which packets are sent. I see. So it's not send times. Function must return integer array denoting the ports at which the packets are sent. Okay. Send time has the following parameter: number of ports, that's an integer, scalar, number of ports in the system. Transmission time, this is also is a scalar, the time for a port to send a packet. And then integer array where packet IDs describe the ID of the packets in the order in which they arrive. So we are given packet IDs as input, but we are supposed to return an integer array denoting the ports at which the packets are sent. And so these are not times, basically these are the ports at which the packets are sent. Now the constraints are: one is number of ports is will be less than equal to 2000. Other constraint transmission time is less than equal to 100 from 1 and greater than equal to 1, so you're bound by that. So number of ports is can be, now you see here what's the catch that took me a while to pick up, that the number of ports could be less than the transmission time also, ideally, I mean in theory, right? Because I can have 50 ports and transmission time of like 60. Anyway, so let's not go there now. And then X is 2000. He is saying that X packets arrive here he said that given that X packets arrive 1 per second. Okay, and packet IDs can go from anywhere from 1 to 10 raised to 5. But one thing to note is that packet IDs are not of that much interest, given that you will be taking a mod number of ports. So ultimately problem will be confined in this domain of numbers. But see how we can do. So let's do that. We'll write our function. We can take this guy can still be there. Let him be there. Now let's see. So what are we supposed to return? A vector of integers basically, which gives us the port ID. So that would be our return value. And the function name is send times, as he's saying, please complete this function send times, and int number of ports, okay, that was the first parameter. That's just a scalar. And then we have a int transmission time. So that's very easy. And now const vector int packet IDs. So let's see, const vector int and packet IDs. So that these are the packet IDs that are coming. So in theory, they are not sequential. I mean, it could be that you have like like 11, 13, 12, 14, 17, like not sequential, but eventually they're all arriving, but not necessarily in an order. Okay, so what we go, rather than confusing, let's put this way out because we'll need it eventually. So how do we tackle this problem? So now took we have to understand that uh, that we have to return this vector int. So uh, packet ID we don't need. Now let's see, packet ports. So let's say vector, this is the variable we are going to return. It's kind of temp. So port IDs, let's call it port IDs. And if you want, you can initialize the vector to empty. In C++1 style using braced array, braced initialization. So we have empty vector basically initialized to all zeros. Now we have a map, and map will be very easy in this case, right? Because we have an int and another int. Basically key value is just int hash map. Call that guy also, initialize that guy also using Braced initialization. Now count, that's our order by which we process. It's kind of a for loop increment. Now let's just initialize. I'm wondering, because you see how many keys will be there in hash map is the number of ports, right? So let's do a for int I equal to 0, I less the number of ports. That sounds pretty straightforward. I plus plus, and what do? We just set hash map I equal to 0, right? So our hash map is basically each port. Here I is actually hash map. Each port, each key actually corresponds to the port, and right now it's all they're all initialized to 0. Now we will have a, now you see we need this count dot 0 eventually, so maybe we should put it before. Okay, let's put it here. And now we'll start our main loop. So what is the catch here? For each packet we can use a little bit C++, new C++ style. For const auto reference packet ID in packet IDs, what do? We are going to take a hash val equal to packet ID. Okay, so that's our original port through which we send the packet out. So that's our you could say that that's our original port where we would like to send packet out, unless it is busy. So that's hash well. Now you see that if uh, everything is all right, then what happens? It happens that we just have to put the port IDs dot pushback dot pushback port IDs dot pushback and here we put that hash val, which is the port number actually. Another way of this is our way of tracking the port number. So that's hash val, and now so we have sent the packet out of that port. Then we store the hash map for that port. We go hash val. So that's the key value pair we are keeping for each port. And what should we put there? We should take the transmission time that's it takes for a packet to be sent out plus count, and we increase the count plus plus. Ideally, this is what we would like to do if the port is not busy. For each packet, just take its hash on its mod on number of ports, get hash value, put that in the back port IDs dot vector, and update the hash map hash value to say that when was the last packet sent out, count plus plus. That's all we like to do. But what happens if the um, you have how do you decide if the port is busy or not? So that happens by logic, something like if if hash map hash map hash val. Now you got to see here if you're greater than count. Now what is the idea here? What is going on here? Why? So if it is less than equal to count, we are all right. We know we can send it out. The port is not busy. Otherwise, we have to keep trying. So we have to say if hash val equal to hash val, which is the port, we try next port plus one mod of number of ports. So we keep trying until we find a port where this condition is no longer valid. Now you see, we keep trying until we find. So instead of if, what we need is a while loop. So while hash map hash val greater than count, we try the next port. So we should say this is the originally you see this is the port or actually it might be better if we put like this. See, it becomes clearer if we put this guy before while loop. So this is what we wanted to do. See, hash val equal to packet ID, this is what we wanted to do, but ideally we would not like to go inside this while loop. We'll come straight and there. But if we find that hash map hash val is greater than count, so that means here we should say try next port. So try next port if busy, right? So here the catch is that in a way, if you think about it, what we have done is we could have also written it in such a way that if we would have to repeat these three statements, but we could have written it this way that if hash map hash val less than equal to count, send it out by this port ID to pushback hash map hash val equal to this count plus plus, else in the else we would have had while hash map hash val greater than count hash val, get the port to send it on, and the and after that repeat those three statements same. So what I've done is I've gotten rid of the if loop, and all you have is a while loop here, and And if you don't have to go inside the while loop, like imagine you don't have to go in the sense, if not true, not true means what? Port available, right? So that is what it is. And I and then in the end we can just say return port IDs. And it should work. It's basically a problem on hashing with linear probing, with a twist that your maps are uh, kind of there. You're always having new, you're having always new packets coming on. So it's not, it's kind of a, their way of saying that hey, the port is busy is like keep finding the next port, like a linear probing, you go to the next one, next one. Now you see one thing that we can test it out. Let's see that. And I have actually, in order to save time, I've actually taken they have some bunch of helper functions, main and things like that. So we don't need this main. What we need is the same thing, but basically there we go. So we got this, and this main is not needed anymore, the same thing. And if you think about it, that's it. So now print back is there, we'll print what do we get and send times. Here you see I have defined the number of ports to be 5 and transmission time of 4. Deliberately I gave a quite big number, and you would see that. Let's see if this code works. And we are saying packet ID number of ports, and it's saying did you mean packet ID? So int hash val equal to packet ID. So let's see what is the problem. Packet ID. Oh, okay. Instead of okay ID, I think there was a typo. That's fine. That's not a big problem for us. We can take care of that. Okay. Run code again. And yeah, it basically is compiling and producing the right output. But one thing you would notice here is that if you change, if you play with these values, number of ports and transmission time, and imagine that you got number of ports of 5 but transmission time of 6 is actually more than number of ports, you would see that this will become infinite loop. So if you go to and there's a 6, and now you try to run it, and you keep saying running code, and so you see that this thing time limit exceeded, so it becomes infinite loop. So that is what we have to understand, that this problem has a solution as long as transmission time is less than the number of ports. So if it is like 5 number of ports and 4 0 1 2 3 4 or whatever, 0 is not possible, because as we know the problem was that transmission time is t. You see, each packet requires a time t to send it, each port requires a time t to send a packet. So 0 is not possible. 1 2 3 or 4, when you have 5 ports, 1 2 3 4 5 transmission time, no problem. But moment your transmission time increases beyond number of ports, you have a problem. You would, and you have a problem. Why? Because see this while loop here, while hash map hash val greater than count. After some time, what happens is you basically use up all the initial port IDs here by this mod number of ports, and you basically go to and because this transmission time is actually greater than the number of ports, after you send through all the 5 ports 0 1 2 3 4 or 1 2 3 4 5, so you can't send anymore, because if it was less, if this value was less, like imagine it was, yeah, right now it is 5, 5 is good, 4 is good, 3 is good, 4, that's okay. That means that after we keep trying, we'll eventually find a port where we can send it out on. But the moment you got a 6, you will not be able to find. You will get in this while loop forever. You will not be able to come out of this while loop after sending your first 5 packets. So keep that in mind, that this problem, maybe that is why they have given us some constraints here. So we are okay as long as those constraints are carefully maintained. But without those constraints, we have a real problem. So remember that, guys. Otherwise, this is a good problem, and I was surprised that it is not given on LeetCode at all. It is a HackerRank problem. It was asked in some very important interviews, especially by the companies like Fortune 500 companies and major chip manufacturer and things like that. So, which is you will find them on x86 line of PCs everywhere in the world. So I don't want to give more information than that, but otherwise, it's a very interesting problem, and I hope you guys. I wish you guys all the best. Take care. Bye bye.